Hey Biscuiteers, Fuchsia here. So, today we're going to play Mysteria Runecraft. And the reason I wanted to play this deck is because it basically topped JCG, the Japanese Shadowverse tournament scene, competitive tournament scene. And like, I was like, wait a minute. I thought Runecraft was just playing whims. And then like I saw this and I was like, alright, I'll try this deck, and well, here we are. Basically it's like the exact same deck from last expansion, except with the addition of Sacred Bird of Wisdom, which is actually quite a good card, because it's a cheap draw and sometimes it's a good removal, and it's a good fodder for your Isabel, and plus like sometimes you want the honestly, you want the card discard in Whim sometimes, but in this deck it's not really relevant. You're really looking for that accelerate and like as like a fodder for Isabel, so it's okay, it's fine. So yeah, is this the secret spice to the meta? We'll see. Alright, first game I wanted to show was against Dragoncraft. So, Dragoncraft, it's a bit weird after the nerfs. I think they're quite good, but because of whims running around, it really skews the meta in weird ways. And, well, let's just say there's a lot of buff dragon running around now. So, yeah, the reason I'm okay with this hand is like, we have Hurricane Golem turn 2. Usually that's a pretty good draw, and like I can draw into another draw. Like this deck is literally just draws. I drew into Force Golem, which is the best possible continuation for this. So I just do that. Sometimes I do keep the Frost Golem if I'm fighting whims or something, because you can match the whims, and if you have good luck you can even beat them at their own game. But for this, well, basically we just play our game plan while they're buffing their own deck, and because buff dragon is like focused on like, well, buffing their deck, right? So so everything's gonna be high HP. Your Anne and to an extent Isabel is going to be very important. Grea, not super much, but yeah. So I'm happy to have my Anne here. And I keep drawing my deck. I'm at like 26 right now, which is respectable, and I decided to just start Isabeling here in case I need the Quadra Magic. They keep buffing their board and removing my stuff, which is like typical buff dragon things. Here's Whimsical Mermaid, and they do a kind of big brain play here, and they evo it because they knew I had an Isabel, so they don't want me to just evo over the Whimsical with an Isabel, which did make me think for a bit, but thankfully I did draw the Grea. Grea is not amazing right now as a finisher because so many decks has like actual okay boards that you have to clear, and sometimes you can't clear and Resentful Blaze face at the same time, especially with this deck. But she's a very good utility card, and like the Resentful Blaze is like very useful for like removal and stuff, which I'll show later. But basically, I managed to spell boost that to 7, and I just start like drawing my cards like crazy. I'm at 18 and on turn 5, which is quite good. Managing to remove that 4/7 too. And now they remove this, and this 8 defense is quite alarming because that means their deck is now incredibly huge. But here, because I have like less than 20, I just played double Anne here. Because with double Anne, I get double Raging Blast. And that's almost enough for lethal basically, especially if they don't heal. And I've seen a lot less of the healing buffer dragon in buff dragon nowadays. They're playing far more aggressive and far more on the board. So yeah, Tiamat is basically the only heal I've seen from them recently. So I'm not too fussed with this. Of course, this is big trouble. Like, this is the power of buff dragon, right? Because even though it's just a Tiamat and an Erwin, like a 3 playpoint follower and a 4 playpoint follower, they're huge. They're absolutely enormous. So here I had to do something smart, so I insight, and I thankfully top deck Riven Earth. I just remove this Tiamat, and I Greya here. I Greya Evo, and I see my Quadra Magic, right? My Quadra Magic is at 6 out of 8, and with the Rending Blast and Resentful Blaze, I'm able to like, I thought maybe I'm able to like get that to 8, but then I noticed I had 1 play point left. Maybe I should have like used the Isabel and used the Crimson Sorcery there. I'm not sure. That maybe that was the correct choice. I don't know why I kept the other Isabel, but you know, hindsight. Either way, Rending Blast is able to like clear this because I have 4 cards left in my deck, and then I just remove these with the Alastair. I think the reason I didn't play I didn't fuse the Isabel was because I was too tunnel visioned into Resentful and the Ant spell, so that yeah. Don't follow up. Don't like mimic that. Anyways, they play another Prophetic Dragon, which is quite a handful. But they don't heal. That's the thing, right? And I don't have another Ant spell, so it's a bit hard for lethal here. But I try to, but I finally realized, oh wait a minute, I can just put my Isabel in, like, and I just do this, and it's the perfect play points to do the Isabel spell, and I win. And that's a nice board, but I win. Next game I wanted to show, Havencraft. Havencraft has risen in the meta thanks to the nerf to Evo Shadow.
May my prayers light the world.
That said, to be honest, against both Haven decks, this deck is a bit risky. You have to kind of play it smart and fast, because if you're playing against Heal Haven, you have to like prioritize your Isabels and your Ants, because your Greya's not going to do much if they get the Goddess out, and they keep healing, so you have to like OTK them. So you have to be really careful, right? Against Ward, the issue is that at 8 they have Holy Saber, and against Holy Saber, you really have to just survive until they can't Holy Saber anymore if you're at that stage, which is quite hard. So I recommend winning before that, obviously, which this deck is, to be honest, kind of capable of, simply because it's like quite fast. It can be quite fast. Of course, this game we're a bit slow because we didn't get our early game cards, but this hasn't been too terrible. And I just fuse my Isabel because I want these cards. Do the fireball there and then banish this. Kind of like denying them an Evo target and the last words. Now, this Guiding Barrier Angel into these 2 snakes, these 2 Yearlings, is a bit tricky in theory with our hand, but thankfully we top deck Riven Earth again. Ah man, such a clutch card. So Isabel here. Riven Earth this. That gets removed. Sorry, I couldn't talk for a second there. I just remove one of them. So yeah, mitigates damage a bunch. They played a Lunaran Paladin, which like gets me a bit like worried. That means they're working towards their 5 Evo, right? Because once they get their Holy Saber, your Ants and Greyas are kind of like useless. So it's like really essential that you get there and like find a way to win before they can play Holy Saber. So here I just play Greya here, just to like maximize all that card draw. Like just play as many cards as you can, and then because I noticed, partly because I noticed Quadra Magic was almost at 8, so I played as many different cards as I could. Now it's actually at 8, and I can Evo the Greya, clear this board with Quadra Magic, and then acquire the Isabel spell, the Elements of Creation, and trait, have this gigantic follower on board. And they use an up deal here, which is quite low tempo. I'm happy with this.
Please, let's end
I'm
this
rarely
fight.
unhappy with them playing an up deal on 6. And in this case, I'm just like, okay, that's a chance for me to like up the tempo and like try to like deal as much damage as possible before turn 8 basically. So I got another Evo here just so I can reduce my deck more, so I can get to 5 as fast as possible, and I leave a threat on board. Then they play a Lunarian Paladin, and I'm like, that's definitely enough, right? Now it's definitely enough. They play a Shiro. It's quite unfortunate. And then I play a Unicorn, just to round things out and Evo it. To be honest, I think this is a bit of a mistake. I think they shouldn't play Imperial Unicorn for an obvious reason that I'll show you now. So I was like racking my brain, okay, how do I defeat them? If I remove this, they'll just play Holy Saber. They're like, yeah, and then I'll just lose. And I counted their damage and I was like, Chotto mate. I counted their damage and I was like, wait a minute, I have a heal. And they don't have board space. And next turn, I have a Rending Blast. So what I do is I just elements. And because Wardhaven is basically a sword deck which with barely any spells that do anything, they're just board locked. And I'm at 5, so next turn I have Rending. They realize it and they just concede. Yeah, so yeah, sometimes against tougher decks like Wardhaven, you need a bit of luck and you need to like think on your feet a bit. Alright, so final game I wanted to show was against Bloodcraft. I wanted to show this game just because it was a really fun game. And it's a weirdly common game I get against Blood, and I wanted to share that observation. So this is a pretty good hand, so I just wanted to keep it. Because like Insight into Magic Missile is pretty great, into Magi too, like Chef's Kiss. What? Sorry, I fast forwarded that a bit, but whatever, it's turn 1. So I Insight, of course. Early turns are quite obvious. Now here's the thing, I really love Riven Earth. Like this card is so good, man, because it not only destroys Billionaire Angels, it also destroys this annoying overstated follower that I hate so much. And then they play a Noble Demoness, summons a demon here, which is whatever, and an Arcane Wolf. And here's what I've noticed with Wrathbells recently. Their hand is like surprisingly small compared to like what I remember last expansion. So I'm always feeling a bit more comfortable when fighting against them, whether that's just like placebo or if that's like justified. Either way, spell boosting all I can here. They play Urias here, probably for tempo, because like definitely they have another Urias on hand. I'm not sure if that's the right play. I feel like if you have just these many cards in your hand, you might just want to save your Urias, right? And then like another turn you can like play the Urias and like have the additional effect. But either way, I have Magi here, so you know, I just draw my deck again. Alistair this, and I get a Crystal Witch, so I play it, and then spell boost everything again, and then I Evo it. If I trade in, now I have a 4-5. Oh, now I have a 4-4. Pretty okay. Of course, they have a Urias. Evoing it. They have 2 cards in hand, so they basically have no choice but to discard it if they want to play a Horrible Knight. They get +1 card, which is whatever. I'm surprised they didn't use it to remove this, but I guess they just wanted to get the Evo back. This is an easy clear for me, to be honest. With that card into Anne, I have like 20 cards left in the hand, in the deck. So I have the Anne summoning to trade into this. Just put into Isabel, so I have the Elements of Creation later, just in case. Evo this, get into the 5-1, like present like a threat on board, right? And the Quadra Magic is I already had 5 out of 8, which made me very happy. And they played Bloodcraft, of course. And Hermit of Lust. Hermit of Lust Evo into a turn 7, I feel like you guys already know what this is, right? And this is where like Grea comes in handy, because you just play a Grea, and the good thing about Grea's Resentful Blaze is that it deals a bunch of damage randomly, so it's not targeted. So like I just evo her, and then I play it, and then I remove this 4 I remove that 4/4, and I have an 8/7 now. I trade. And now, predictably, they play their Xeno Diablo, and if I hadn't removed that 4/4, I would have lost right now. Actually, would I? Let's see the damage actually. Yeah, actually, because of the amount of followers, I would have like lost right now. But instead, I'm at 4. They're at 8, and well, the thing with Anne's the thing with Anne is that you know, you can target anything with the Rending Blast, and I already had like, a Rending Blast in hand, and I would had trouble with like reducing the deck. But I played around that by playing Grea and reducing Glimpse Beyond, and just enough so I could play it and recover play points. Exactly 3 play points here, and then I could play the Rending, targeting the Grea, and just winning.
I've not seen such splendor.
Alright, Biscuiteers, those were the games. To be honest, I don't need to like go over how you play this deck anymore, right? It's been like done over, like it hasn't really changed in the last meta in terms of like the general playstyle. The only difference now that I've seen is that you have more versatility with Sacred Bird of Wisdom, obviously, and more fodder for Isabel. But also, I feel like Grea, because of the amount of decks in the ladder right now that like make the Resentful Blaze like really inconsistent as like a win condition. I feel like Grea is like a much more of a supporting role now, even though she was kind of a supporting role before, but now she's like even more so, I feel like, and you have to rely a lot on Anne and Isabel. So I feel like almost always you want to draw your Annes, and you can win with just Greas, but in the games where I just drew Greas, I really struggled. So I feel like that's the main difference in this meta, and that Anne is like double more important, and that's like true also because Isabel is like much weaker due to the nerf. So like I feel like if you if you play this deck, I feel like you have to like focus on getting the Anne if you want like a more reliable finisher, because these two are not super reliable, even though they help. Like obviously Isabel helps me, but like it's not as reliable as before is what I'm saying. So yeah, either way though, I feel like this deck really has potential, and it's like really good in the meta right now. I feel like it just has a lot of like really difficult matchups. Ironically, one of them like whims, so you have to like be kind of smart in playing it. But I feel like if you want like a cheap-ish rune deck, like, you know, it's like what, 4 legendaries, and you can like cut Sacred Bird, and you can cut Alistair. I feel like in Alistair less so, but like Sacred Bird definitely you can kind of cut for something else. It's a good budget deck, I feel like, quote-unquote budget deck in rotation standards for anyone wants to build like a competitive deck right now. So yeah, I recommend it. Thank you of course to Jiv, who compiled the JCG lists and like I got this deck from, and thank you for the players of JCG to actually like show the power of this deck, and thank you to you for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you loved it, give me a sub, and like always, have a great day. What's the first game again? I think it was against Swordcraft? Dragoncraft, I think.